I can remember being obsessed with Red Ranger action figures. The Power Rangers were just the biggest thing on the planet when I was 5 to 6 years old. Everybody had them. Everybody was watching them. It was a cultural phenomenon for kids. I don't know anybody that didn't have action figures, watch the show, and talk about it all the time at school. And it seems like when I got out of like that age in my childhood, when I was becoming more of a preteen and when I was getting into, Pokemon and stuff like that, when I was getting into skateboarding, every time I would look back at the Power Rangers, it was just bad. It was bad. It seemed as though they were being sold out to every possible way that money could be made off of the franchise, and it kind of just diluted everything to an unrecognizable form. For me, it was Power Rangers Turbo, I think, where they lost me, and it was more like Transformers, and why would I want generic Transformers when Transformers already existed and had for a really long time. And the acting got to be, and I was a wrestling fan at that period of time, so cheesiness is something that I wasn't really completely turned away by, but the cheesiness of the Power Rangers got to be a point where at like 8 and 9 years old, I was like, this is just stupid. I'm definitely going to be playing with Pokemon cards, watching Dragon Ball Z, watching wrestling, getting into skateboarding. I'm done with the Power Rangers. And I mean, in my older age, I'm 32 now, I'm looking back on it and I see the gimmicks and what they were doing with all these revolving characters and ripping material from Japan and the craziness that was Power Rangers. And it's just like, damn, how did this work? But it did. It definitely did. I found an interesting video today while I was skimming through YouTube for something to watch with you guys. And it's the real reason the original Power Rangers were fired. This is a video by a content creator named Nerdstalgic. First time I've ever checked out their channel. I'm going to go ahead and sub, and I'm going to like this video. Let's go ahead and pull this one up. Let's learn some stuff about the Power Rangers. And, get our nostalgic nerd on.
Back off, Fang Face! The good guys are here! Get off our planet!
Because we're the Power Rangers! And we're not backing down! Yeah!
This is one of the most lasting entertainment franchises of all time. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers exploded into the 90s with Megazord-like force, and since then has become a key element in our cultural zeitgeist. Over the last 28 years, fans of the Power Rangers have been treated to 3 feature films, over 60 comic books, and over 900 episodes of spin kicks and giant robots with no signs of slowing down at any time in the near future. Despite almost 3 decades of success, the Power Rangers got off to kind of a rocky start. If you remember correctly, 3 of the original cast members in the show's first season were replaced before the second season started filming. Austin St. John, Tweed Trang, and Walter Emmanuel Jones, aka the original Red, Yellow, and Black Power Rangers. And what happened there is a lesson in not only knowing your value to a project, but also taking action in order to get what you feel like you're worth. The first season of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was a colossal success. This is huge for a television show and often huge for all the actors involved. Success means more. More episodes, more work, more fans, and usually more money. Oftentimes, when a show or a film is successful, the actors involved are able to negotiate higher salaries to continue their work. A good example of this is Robert Downey Jr. in Iron Man. He was paid a mere $500,000 to star in Iron Man 1. After the film's success, Robert Downey Jr. was able to then negotiate a higher salary, and by the time he was filming Infinity War, he was estimated to have made about $75 million for the film. With the success of Power Rangers, it would almost seem reasonable that the cast was paid a fair wage based on the show's overnight success, right? Sadly, that was not the case. To understand this better, we'll need to take a look at the differences between union and non-union productions. The primary actors union for film and television is called the Screen Actors Guild, or SAG. Rather than make an attempt to fully explain union and labor laws, we're going to kind of gloss over some key details about the Screen Actors Guild. Working on a union project comes with a lot of benefits. First off, there are mandatory minimum wages. Actors are paid overtime if a production lasts longer than 10 hours in a day. They are entitled to benefits, and there are even bonus structures in place for working with hazards like fire or explosives, working with smoke, or even if performers are required to get wet, among others. There are a lot of bells and whistles that come from a SAG contract, but the point here is that a union like SAG ensures that performers are protected from exploitative working conditions and compensated fairly for their time.
I hurt my leg.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. I didn't even walk on it at all.
No way, you're lying.
I'm not lying.
Tell me.
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was a non-union production, meaning that nobody working on the show was ever part of the Screen Actors Guild. There are no guidelines for paying or protecting performers or crew in a non-union project. The pay could be $50 per day, or even nothing at all. Some non-union projects even cite exposure as the pay, as if actors could pay their bills with exposure.
Oh yeah.
The bottom line here is that by switching production to non-union status, the production company behind Power Rangers, Saban Entertainment, was able to circumvent some of the most costly aspects of making a television show, namely, paying their performers. The cast of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers were paid $600 per week. Given that shoots would often run long and were physically demanding,
$600?
criminally low. Saban took even further advantage of that non-union status and didn't offer any royalties for episodes in syndication for any members of the cast. The actors that were hired were all pretty new to the film television business. Austin St. John was a martial arts student and still in high school when he got cast. Thuy Trang was a 20-year-old student of Shaolin Kung Fu entering her first role. Amy Jo Johnson, who played Kimberly, the Pink Ranger, landed the role 1 month into her foray into acting. Blue Ranger David Yost was cast after only auditioning for 3 months. The point here is that these performers were inexperienced, young actors being offered a role in a television show for the first time. It's doubtful that they were thinking about the subtle nuances of contract negotiations when they accepted. As we stated earlier, the first season of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was a huge success. The actors were very aware of the show's exploding popularity, and as they watched the flood of merchandise sales grow to an overwhelming degree,
This is totally terrific!
they grew frustrated that they still were making $600 per week.
That's unbelievable.
According to some of the cast members, there may have been an attempt to get the principal ensemble to push Saban Entertainment into creating a union production, but those talks fell through. After that happened, Austin St. John, Thuy Trang, and Walter Emmanuel Jones stopped showing up to voiceover sessions in protest over their low wages. There were threats of leaving, and this battle of attrition went about as far as it could possibly go. There's that age-old saying, the squeaky wheel gets the most grease. Well, sometimes if the wheel is too squeaky, it gets replaced entirely. That's what happened to these 3 performers. Austin St. John was fired and replaced with the new Red Ranger, Rocky, played by Steve Cardenas. Walter Emmanuel Jones was replaced with Johnny Young Bosch as the new Black Ranger, Adam Park. And Thuy Trang was replaced with Karen Ashley, the new Yellow Ranger, Aisha.
I present to you the new Power Rangers. We will now start the ceremony to transfer power from Jason, Zach, and Trini to Rocky, Adam, and Aisha.
Just like that, it was over. And the message was sent to the rest of the cast that you can and will be replaced if necessary. After all, these characters spent over half of every episode inside of a dinosaur helmet that disguised their identity. So the rationale was likely that it didn't really matter who was in the suit. A few of the other cast members dropped off pretty quickly after those 3 got fired. Amy Jo Johnson left the show in the middle of season 2 due to safety concerns. She was almost set on fire during the production of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
What?
And was electrocuted during the filming of 1997's Turbo, a Power Rangers movie. Things that likely wouldn't have happened on a union project. David Yost hung in there until Power Rangers Zeo, despite being bullied on set due to his sexuality. But that's for a whole separate episode. Since then, there have been over 20 different actors to play every different Power Ranger. In fact, the swapping of cast members has become an expected part of the Power Rangers universe. They took the initial firing of those first 3 Power Rangers and effectively made it into a canonical element of the show.
Zordon, what are we gonna do without a Pink Ranger?
There is somebody out there that can take my place.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
It continues to serve the show well in terms of keeping
Wow.
things fresh and also eliminates any leverage that a cast member might be able to use against the production company. In 2018, after Hasbro acquired Power Rangers from Saban, it was announced that the show was moving toward hiring union performers. But still, that's almost 25 years of getting away with dramatically underpaying your performers. It's part of the reason that there is a necessity for agents, managers, and labor unions in the entertainment industry. A lot of this comes down to what is in the writing. Non-union contracts can have tricky language, and in them, performers may sign their rights to overtime away. They may waive their rights to getting paid for rehearsals and not even know it. Whatever the case may be, your personal value isn't determined by a contract or a membership to a fancy union or anything like that. Your personal value is determined by you and you alone. In the case of the Power Rangers, these performers felt like they were worth more than $600 per week, made a stand, and ultimately were cut loose. But just because they were fired doesn't diminish their value. Despite getting replaced on the show, Austin St. John and Walter Emmanuel Jones are still making appearances at conventions across the nation. Amy Jo Johnson has found success as a filmmaker. She successfully crowdfunded her first feature film, The Space Between, in 2017. David Yost started his own clothing company back in Texas. Heck, even the voice of Alpha, Richard Horvitz, has gone to become a voiceover legend as the voice of Zim in Nickelodeon's Invader Zim.
Hell yeah.
In an industry that is constantly taking advantage of its performers, sometimes the only person you can really trust is yourself. And that's it for today's episode of Nerdstalgic. If you enjoyed it, press the like button down below.
Smash
If you
that
haven't
like
yet
button
done
already.
so, please also hit subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you all for our next video.
Yo, I did not know Alpha Alpha was the dude from Invader Zim, which means hell of a boss as well. Dude, I learned a whole bunch of shit in here. Some of it really sucks. I cannot believe the original Power Rangers cast was paid only $600 fucking dollars. Are you kidding me? Millions and millions of dollars were coming in, and they were paying these kids $600 a week. My Power Rangers kept getting stolen. I couldn't keep a green or a red Power Ranger. Saved my life. Kids would just, oh, can I borrow that? And then I'd never see them again. So I know that my mom dished out, which, I mean, we were broke as hell, so it makes me feel bad. She would still go back and get them for me after I lost them or they got stolen. But just think, man. Working overtime, getting these shows right, and you know they were pumping out episodes, and they're only going to pay you $600 a week. Starting out, you know, that sweat equity, that putting in because you can't afford to pay for a production financially, but you're going to volunteer your time to be a part of it, and that exposure and paying your dues and shit is a real thing. I've done it in professional wrestling to a certain degree. Okay, you don't want to sell yourself short. In professional wrestling, you're risking your body, you're risking your life just to go out there. You should be getting paid every time you wrestle. But you got to learn, and it's not the most profitable business in the world. So sometimes that sweat equity, that exposure stuff, sometimes it's worth it. Sometimes. As a musician, sometimes getting a spot on the bill, you're a new band, you're trying to go out there, you're trying to pay your dues, you want to get your band some notoriety. That exposure really means something. When you're a first-time actor, you're getting out there, you just need a resume. It's worth it. But when you're talking about an out-of-nowhere production that just takes the world by storm, that's when $600, that's when the you know, sweat investment, the hard work, and the volunteering needs to stop. When motherfuckers are becoming millionaires, there needs to be more than $600 in the situation. So you got it. The dude's right here. You on Nerdstalgic, you have to protect your neck. You have got to make sure you're getting paid what you're worth, knowing your own worth, knowing your own value. And I think that the 3 cast members that decided to walk did that. Could they have gone on and shut their mouths and just kept getting that $600 and build up a greater legacy for themselves on the show? I guess. Probably not. Out of the first couple of rotations of cast members, I can't really remember anybody else. So they got a lot out of it. Here we are as adults, still talking about them, still wanting to go see them at conventions and things like that. So, I don't know. Saban, shame on you, you fuck. How are you going to treat people like that? How are you going to rob people blind, electrocute, and catch Kimberly on fire? What the fuck? I would have left just as quick, you know. I would have been out of there. So it's a really shitty situation, and it happens to a lot of people in a lot of different industries. The music industry's bad about it, wrestling, everything that I've been involved in entertainment it's a wicked game, man. It's a vicious cycle of use you up financially, physically, mentally, and then chew you up and spit you out. Good luck. We're going to forget about you. And you look at like Brendan Fraser. The guy got older. He just aged. And he didn't look the same. And he went through a shitty divorce and all this stuff. And people just punched down at him for years. And now he's on this redemption cycle where people are now everybody wants to talk good about him and shit. Where were y'all at when I was talking about the Mummy movies being some of the greatest movies of the 2000s, and how much I enjoyed his work and how funny he was and how cool the guy was, and to cut him a break? People were slamming me like crazy for years. Now finally that guy's getting some respect put on his name, which is pretty cool. The Power Rangers, it seems like the original cast, I never remember anybody giving them any kind of shit. I think that they've been pretty well respected by the fan base this entire time. So, you know, they may have not got paid on the front end for what they were doing, but on the back end, I feel like the fans have been loyal and have taken care of them, regardless of how cheesy it is to look back on and how terrible some of the stuff was. It meant a lot to us. It was groundbreaking. We knew it. It grabbed our imaginations and took us on a thrill ride when we were pretty young that was very unexpected but very much appreciated. So thanks for that, guys. I know that you didn't get your bread stacked appropriately, but hopefully over time it has been worth it, because I really had a great time enjoying the content that was produced, the show, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. From the very moment you heard the intro song to the very end, it was hype, hype, hype. Thank you guys for watching this video. There will be a link to the original video down in the description for you guys to go check out and like and subscribe to Nerdstalgic. Great stuff. I'm going to continue to check out some of these other videos. They seem to be about some really cool stuff. If you have any videos you would like to see me react to, or me and Nikki react to when she's here with me, go ahead and drop those down in the comment section. There will also be a link in the description for our Discord channel. You can go there and communicate with us. Let us know what you want to see us react to there. But for this video, I think that's going to do it. I'll see y'all next time.